Welcome to the Rusted Garden. Today is November 23rd. We've had our first week of below freezing temperatures. I want to give you an update on the greenhouse, show you some of the radishes I pulled out, show how I'm going to insulate the greenhouse a little bit more for this week, and just talk about how things are going. First of all, the temperatures this week got down to the teens. On November 18th, the temperature got down to 19 degrees. On the 19th, it got down to 17 degrees. And on the 21st and 22nd, it also got down to 19 and 17 degrees. So when the temperatures at night were in the teens here, the lowest temperature that actually came up in the greenhouse was 26 degrees. So the greenhouse itself, with the way that I have it insulated and have the heating set up, is staying 8 or 9 degrees above the temperatures outside, which is really good. I'd like it to be closer to 32 degrees Fahrenheit, but you know, when it's 17 degrees outside and this greenhouse is staying, this space in here is staying at 26 degrees, that's pretty good. You can see, well, you can see some of the radishes I pulled out already. So I'm starting to get a harvest out of the greenhouse. I've talked about how I've insulated it. I've talked about the heating that I'm using, but I just want to show you the heater again for those of you who may have not seen the other videos. I'm just using a 25 watt aquarium heater that I drop into a 5-gallon bucket of water. So that is the main heating source. And again, the cost for that, to run the 25 watt heater for a whole month, is only about $4. Real quick, you can see the greens are doing really well. Those are going to get divided out and put into other pots. Here's the radishes like I showed you. They're a good size. I'm pulling them right out of this space. Right in front here you can see some damage, and you can see some damage over here. These are greens, so yes, the temperature gets down to 26 degrees. The leaves actually freeze, but they can handle that freezing, they can handle that frost, and you can see they look perfectly fine. I mean, everything is doing really well. However, when these are pressing up against the plastic and it gets cold out here, these are starting to get damaged. But that's all right. I mean, most of it's pretty healthy. Over here are some more of the greens I'm growing. I have onions, peas, all kinds of things, but I wanted to show you real quick the beets that I actually pulled from the raised beds and put a couple in here, and you can see all these new leaves are growing. So they will go into salads, but everything is doing really, really well, so I'm satisfied. Now, because this is sort of an experiment, and the original experiment was done on a big greenhouse last year, and I just couldn't keep it heated. It was too much work. So I got this smaller frame. I like the size. It's 4 foot by 8 foot. It's a triangle, and because it's a triangle, obviously there's a point on top, but the heat rises. But this is much easier to manage for the heat through December, January, and February, because it's a smaller space. What I added today was this whole layer back here. This is bubble wrap, and I'm only going to do this side really for, I guess, the next 7 to 10 days, and then I will put another layer of bubble wrap down this side. But what I wanted to see is, what will this really do to keeping the temperature warmer inside of the greenhouse? So it's 3 8-foot pieces of bubble wrap duct taped together, and I just dropped it down, secured it to the greenhouse, and that will help insulate the greenhouse more. You're adding 2 layers of plastic because this is bubble wrap and you have air bubbles in between. You got a layer of plastic on the top, or yeah, a layer of plastic on top, then you have the air bubbles, and then you have another layer of plastic to secure, you know, the air inside of the bubble wrap, and then that goes right on top of the plastic. So I'm going to keep track of the temperature, see if this addition of the bubble wrap raises the core temperature of the greenhouse closer to 32 degrees when the nights get down into, you know, the low 20s, upper teens. And that's going to happen this week. And I'll give you an update on that, you know, in about 10 days, 14 days. But my goal, as I mentioned, is to grow these greens all through the winter here in Maryland Zone 7. And as I add in insulation, I'm going to do it in steps so I can figure out what works best, and really be able to talk to you about what's going to help your greenhouses in the gardening zones that you're in. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please check out my blog at www.therustedgarden.blogspot.com, and also check out my YouTube videos. Thanks.